After the stain incident, the two boys are called up to the police for questioning, Ida being heavily reprimanded by the cops because of his actions, and Deku, if anything, being thanked for his service. People are just thankful his quirk matched up as well as it did with Stain's. They're released from the hospital and return back to class, internships being cut short because of what they did. Him and Edgeshot say their goodbyes before Deku goes back to UA. Like normal, they have the obstacle course thing that they have to save All Might from, which, in this timeline, Deku would win in. I mean, his quirk's pretty well perfect for this. He can just float over everything. You know, he could just send his head up or his hands to look for him. Yeah. Though, in everyone else's eyes, he hadn't really grown that much. Maybe a little bit quicker or something, but that's about it. After that class, they all return to Aizawa, sitting them down and telling them that they have finals coming up, and that they should probably get studying right away. About a week goes on, class doing their own thing, Deku getting some studying and doing some training before the final exams. I'm gonna completely skip over the theory exam. Deku would get decent marks on this, I think. Yeah. Then, right onto the practical exam. Now, in this timeline, I don't know who to put Deku up against, though for some reason I could see him in Kaminari versus Nezu or something. And I like their group, like their group in canon. I think they'll just be running the whole time, running from the falling debris and in the end failing because they couldn't find a way out. So sadly the two of them are doing remedial courses. Womp womp. The rest of the battles goes normal, Deku and Kaminari failing with whoever did in canon. Aizawa smirks, telling them everyone would be going regardless, and right away they'll be packed onto the bus. I'm gonna skip the whole bus ride thing because I really just want to get to the good stuff, you've been waiting for it for long enough. The first day of training would roll around, Deku in this timeline wanting to train by himself. He still hadn't grasped what he did in the sports festival, and in his head he knew it was him, but he just seemed so out of the ordinary, it didn't make sense. He trained completely alone, about 100 meters away from any other student, chopping himself down as small as possible before reforming himself every 1 to 2 seconds. The whole time thinking back to the footage, the Nomu attack, his weakness when faced with people who had actual power. He locks the hell in, and from there he would train like a madman for 3 days straight. Aizawa coming to check on him every now and then, but, smirking every time he came close, seeing Deku split into borderline dust before his eyes before reforming. Deku's face completely soaked in sweat. He knew Deku was on the grasp of something great. The final day rolls around and everyone's told to do something fun, as a little send-off, They get paired off, as in canon, and are sent to the forest for the haunted thing. Deku, having failed, would be in the classes with Aizawa, but his marks were decent, and Aizawa saw how hard he's been working, so he let Deku off the hook. So Deku doesn't have to do those classes, instead he's doing the haunted forest thing with the rest of the class. I don't even know why I failed him, if I'm being honest. Like normal, Deku's alone going into the forest, walking in scared as anything, looking around at a completely black night. He starts to walk, hearing some cracks in the forest and stuff. Getting scared, Deku decides to float above the tree line. Figuring they couldn't scare him if they couldn't see him, he floats up and breaks the canopy, looking around. Like in canon, he sees the smoke filling the forest, turning back and rushing back towards the teachers again. He warns them right away, earlier than in canon, before remembering someone. Koda. Now, I didn't explain their relationship, and I won't either, because I'm slack as shit. Just know that, they're not beefing in this one. Koda thinks Deku's kind of funny looking, and so he isn't really mad at him or anything. Anyways, Deku remembers this, would rush right away to where Koda was, floating over the tree line, his feet rushing at top speed on the floor. He flies over, getting at the top of the mountain as tired as anything. He sees Koda on the edge, looking out at the smoke-filled forest below him. Deku catches up. Koda! We gotta get you out of here, there's a bunch of freaks out tonight. Koda looks at him before out the corner of both of their eyes stands a man. Who you calling Freaks Clown? Oh wait. Hey, you're on our list! Let's see if that means you can fight! Muscular wraps himself in muscles, shooting himself right at Deku, who chops himself into straight up dust. Muscular hits him, Deku feeling it but not as much. Muscular's hand going right through him. Koda looks on in shocked, thinking Deku just died in front of him. Deku looks down shocked. He barely even dodged in time. This guy wanted blood. Deku right away jumps back, putting himself back together, sending a hand cannon at Muscular's face, which he tanks with no stress. Oh damn it, I thought you were gonna be strong, kid. They must want you as some type of jester or something. You are kinda funny looking. Deku gets mad at this, trying to get some info out of Muscular, but nothing comes out of his mouth. If anything, he was scared. He looks over at Koda, who was on the floor, his palms filling with water as he remembers Muscular's face. Deku, seeing this, locks the hell in. His face drops in as Koda tells him what happened. Muscular starts to laugh at the two of them. Deku, now pissed, jumps right at Muscular, sending a punch right at his gut before sending another at his chin. Muscular barely moves. Deku backing up before sending a flying kick at his nuts. Muscular laughs again. Heh, you play dirty, kid. What, you think that because you're on the list doesn't mean I can't hurt you? He once again shoots at Deku, this time doubling the muscles he put on, slamming Deku with a punch that was too quick for him to react to. Deku feels it connecting with his stomach, off of instinct splitting himself up as small as possible to minimize it. Luckily, he split himself before it hit his organs, so he wasn't too badly hurt, but he's still flung backwards, slamming into a rock behind him. He puffs into a cloud of smoke before reforming, blood trickling down his mouth. Kota starts to cry, seeing Deku's injuries, watching as Muscular jumps up again, sending a flying kick right at Deku, which he does not dodge. Deku gets wailed on, Muscular taking out every single bit of his anger out on him. He grabs him by his head and slams him to the floor, trying to pick it up again, but Deku separates it. Muscular now holding Deku's head like a bowling ball. You really are a freak show, huh? He clocks his arm back and spins, laughing like a maniac before tossing Deku at top speed at the mountainside. Deku slams into it and bounces off, his injuries already too severe to even move. He can do nothing but watch as Muscular stops playing with him. He turns to see a crying Kota on the floor. His smile widens as Kota shoots some water, getting flashbacks of his parents. Oh, I remember you now. The anger from years ago comes back. Muscles wrap every single centimeter of his body, bigger and meaner than the ones that hit Deku with. Your parents took my eye, kid, so I think I'll repay the whole favor. I think I'm gonna end their whole bloodline tonight. He clocks his arm back and is about to slam Kota before Deku acts. Oh my god, it's happening. On the floor, Deku lies in a pool of his own blood, tasting it on his lips. He sees a reflection of the moon as he lay. He stares at Muscular, something in his head telling him he can still fight, and that he needs to fight, or he could never be a hero again. Off of pure will, Deku starts to move, his fingers twitching ever so slightly. As the seconds go on, he gets more and more resolve, forcing himself to move, willing broken bones to push on as he finally musters enough strength to hold his hand up. Muscular looks over, seeing Deku clinging to life. Oh hey, you're still alive, clown? You're stronger than I give you credit. He's cut off, Deku's fingers twitching in anger before balling into a fist. He slams it onto the floor, looking directly at Muscular, with nothing but murder on his mind. He watches on as in front of him, without a sound, splits. Muscular splitting clean in two, both sides dropping like an invisible string had been driven right through him. The floor below him, the earth beside him. No blood, no gore. Muscular could do nothing, feeling his grasp over himself fading. Deku's fist on the floor began moving, his balled fist opening slowly as Muscular's body began splitting. His arms, legs, torso and head all separating as Deku flung them off indiscriminately. He looks on confused. If he just did that before passing right out. Kota, having seen what just happened, would quickly hurry over to Deku's side. He notices his pulse growing weak and frail. His broken body, he was losing a bunch of blood. He tries his hardest, bringing Deku down the mountain with all his strength he could muster. The teachers get a hold of him and right away get him some help. In this timeline, although Kota was saved, Bakugo wasn't. He was taken. Deku not being there made a big difference. Deku gets sent right to the hospital, drifting in and out of consciousness. He gets constant surgical procedures, sitting in a coma for at least a couple of days after the fight. He awakens, feeling his head ringing, the memories of what happened flooding back into his head. Kota's face, Muscular split on the floor, the mountainside cracked and cut. The doctor looks over him, checking his pupils as Deku snaps back into reality. He sits back up and shakes himself awake. Kota! He looks around, seeing no one but the doctor. The doctor looks at him, explaining how long he's been out and what happened. Deku looks up to see the news. The villains were getting raided. Deku's ear from a distance listens in as someone knocks on the door. Before he can get into it too much, the class comes into his room, asking him how he was doing and what even happened to him. Deku starts talking until once again he hears something, this time a familiar something. He hears Bakugo chirping to the villains. The villains threaten to attack him, hearing a strange voice coming from what he thought was a radio. Without even thinking, Deku hops up, flirting off. He knew he had to do something. Everyone tells him to sit down, telling him he's too injured to go off. But he was too late. No one could do anything but watch as Deku, in their eyes, wandered off. They ignore this, thinking he was just like out of his mind a little bit, maybe going for a snack or something, because you know, they didn't know that he can hear like what's gone through his left ear. Deku floats at top speed over to the bar, hearing the entire conversation going down. All Might busts through the door and the League gets teleported away once more by All For One. All Might, seeing this happen, rushes over to All For One's location, but not before grabbing Deku's ear from under the couch. He takes his ear with him, Deku still clued in on where the fight was going down. He flies quicker and quicker towards it as he hears All For One and All Might beginning to talk. After about a minute or two, Deku finally makes it. Rushing to the top of the building, he stops and stares out at the scenario going down below him. A helicopter flies around recording the scene, All For One floating above All Might in his weakened form. Bakugo sits in the middle fighting off the league members. He knew he had to do something. Deku jumped down, the helicopter zooming in on him. Wait, who's... Oh my god, it's Deku! People all over begin looking at their screens. Deku, what the hell's he doing there? Are we gonna see a kid die on national TV? People start to pray for him, his classmates and teachers shocked that he could even move. They all sit and stare at the TV completely silent as All For One turns to look at him. Well, if it isn't the jester. I wanted to capture you at the training camp for a little entertainment, but you slipped through our hands. All Might looks on, looking defeated, his heart sinking in his chest. No, Deku, what are you doing here? Bakugo stares at him, getting flashbacks to the USJ. Damn it, Deku, run! He can't even finish as All For One raises his hand. I wonder what reaction I'd get if I killed the symbol of peace and the fan favorite in one attack. He lifts his hand up, his fingers beginning to twitch, electricity shooting around his arm as it inflates. Quirk booster times 3, kinetic booster times 2, spring-like bones. His arm shoots out before compressing. It snaps at Deku, a huge gust of wind being shot right at him, one big enough to level an entire city. People watching on are horrified, seeing the attack being slammed right at Deku. Everyone is silent. All Might watching on drops to his knees. No! All Might sparks into flames as he stares down All For One, thinking he'd just killed his student. He rushes in at him, the dust finally clearing, Deku standing completely still. His arm out in front of him, 2 slash marks on the floor, making an arrow towards All For One. Everyone stares in silence, watching as the cameras zoom back in on Deku. His hand was raised, his fingers began to twitch, the air around him got heavy, the floor beginning to shake and crack. People are shocked. What was happening? All For One looks on confused as Deku's aura changes. All For One sees red, nothing but red wherever he moves. Multiple danger sense quirks telling him he needed to get the hell out of there as quick as possible. It was too late though. Deku smirks, making a scissor symbol with his fingers. He stares All For One down with a deadpan eye. Rotten hell, villain. He closes the scissors on his hands. All of a sudden, a huge slash gets sent flying right at All For One. He can't even react. Instantly, All For One is clean cut in two, my bad. Friggin' dyslexia. The floor in front of him sliced in two for about a kilometer straight. The ground is left agape and scarred as All For One floated. Deku stares him down, making a balled fist with his other hand and grabbing All For One. He starts to laugh like a maniac, pulling him apart like a Barbie doll. He pulls him limb from limb, slamming them to the floor. Villains, heroes, civilians are all shocked and silent, doing nothing but watching as the weak Deku toyed with the final villains. Shigaraki begins tweaking. Master, what's happening? All For One, already dead on the floor, wouldn't respond. Deku snaps his head at Shigaraki. Now, who did you call clown before? I seem to remember you being a lot more aggressive. Where's that Nomu of yours? Korigiri, more scared than he's ever been in his life, starts spam opening portals. Every single Nomu the league had would walk out. Even the high-end ones. Deku feeling their pressure, spawning in all around him. He feels the air get heavy again. Shigaraki starts rushing him, backed up by like 100 Nomus, and about 100 high-ends, and every single villain on the League of Villains. They all scream battle cries, all desperate to take down Deku. Deku does nothing but smirk. I thought I was seeing things, so I really couldn't do it. He thinks back to the Nomu, the slice he put on him, the sports festival, the hand that got out the ice and that cut Todoroki's face. It all made sense now. People stare on as Deku begins floating. He slowly rises, staring at the stars, feeling like Gojo post-awakening. He looks down to see the Nomu and the villains rushing at him. Without a care in the world, Deku sends a flick. The flick sending a flash which cuts all the villains clean in half all at once. The second the slash touched them, they were all good as done. Their bodies already under Deku's control. He smirks, pulling them up limb from limb, pulling them all together like Mr. Potato Head. He mixes and matches body parts. No one could do anything but watch. After about a minute, the cops would finally arrive, apprehending the villains and taking what was left of All For One. No one dares to go near Deku except for All Might. Bakugo in the middle of the city looks on, shocked. He drops to his knees. Nothing made sense. This isn't Deku. This wasn't the same Deku he knew. What was that? He can't even formulate thoughts. He looks around, seeing the cuts all over the floor, the earth that was now permanently scarred from Deku. All For One being taken away and all the villains in shambles. He just couldn't believe it. Neither could anyone else. Everyone stayed silent for about 5 minutes straight post-battle. No cheers, nothing. Silence. No one could even explain what happened. Deku makes his way out of there, talking to All Might before getting his ear back. All Might explains who he just beat and asks him what the hell just happened. Deku tells him he's going to sleep for a little bit and then he's going to tell him. All Might, not wanting to mess with him, would let him go. Deku sleeping for 3 days straight, his body kind of adapting to the new power he just got. Finally, he wakes up. What he did a couple of days ago feeling like a weird dream to him. He walks downstairs, seeing his mum had gone shopping. Knowing he had class, Deku makes his own breakfast, getting his bag packed and making his way to UA. As soon as he makes it to the gates of UA, he notices people staring at him, jaws agape, silence following everywhere he went. He felt kinda off by this, but didn't complain, walking inside and walking his way to Class 1A's door. He opens it, seeing Aizawa mid-class, watching as everyone in the class's mood changes right away. Everyone went silent, even Aizawa had his mouth agape. Good afternoon, Deku. Nice to see you again. Deku looks at him. Nice to see you too. What's up? Why is everyone so quiet? The only person who has enough balls to speak was Bakugo. Dude, what the hell was that? People start to nod, agreeing with the question. Deku's confused. What? Bakugo stands up, slamming his hands on the desk. You cutting the earth? Beating a whole ass army? Were you hiding this power from me, you damn clown? People hearing this get a shiver down their spines, knowing what Deku could do. They think what Bakugo just said was a death sentence. Wait, what? I thought it was all a dream. He rubs the back of his neck, looking down at his desk. He touches it, saying chop in his own head. To his surprise, it worked. The desk is cut clean in half. Surgical precision. The desk didn't even know it was cut until it fell. Aizawa looking at him is extra shocked. He had his quirk cancelled the whole time, just in case. What the hell? As the desk falls, All Might comes into the class with Nezu on his shoulder. Young Midor... The desk slams against the floor. Ah, so I guess it wasn't just a one-time thing. Deku, could you come with us please? Deku confused walks with them, Nezu popping up and starting to talk. I have a speculation on what's happening to your quirk. I think it's called awakening. It only happens to those who are in dire situations. It's very rare in fact. All Might looks at him. This might not sound real, but we need to get you trained ASAP. Kid, don't freak out. But the power you're walking around with right now could level an entire country. And that's the end of part 4. I hope you like it this far. I'm going to do one more part, which is just going to be like him speedrunning the rest of the... yeah. It's just going to be speedrun. I know that 5 parts is a bit of a rarity on this channel, but I'm just having too much fun writing this. Honestly, it's been a ball writing this. Genuinely though, I hope you do like it. It has been so much fun. I love this series. If you made it this far, please comment star for my next what if. It's going to be what if Deku had New Order, which I'm sure you already know. Also, if you know how to make thumbnails, could someone please send me a thumbnail for it? Because honestly, I do not know how to start with that thumbnail. How do I even start that thumbnail? Like what? Anyways, I hope you have a good one, and I hope to see you again next time. Peace.